Beautiful. All right, Explore IVCC Spring 2021. I'm looking forward to maybe in the future to do this in person, but we're really excited about tonight because we're bringing people from all over the place to join us virtually. And I'm just excited for you guys to hear their stories. So with that, if you just joined us, please mute yourself. And as we get the conversation going, feel free to go ahead and submit any questions in the chat feature. So just a couple of things. You'll find that in that chat box, I just sent a sign in form. So please do yourself the favor and fill that out so that we can go ahead and send you those cool IVCC sunglasses. In addition, we'll be sending an event evaluation. We just want to know what we could be doing to make this a better experience, whether that's in person or virtually. And then again, mute yourself and feel free to send in questions. You'll find that we have quite a diverse group of current students and alumni joining us. And I'm so pumped for really to have you meet them. So with that, I don't think you know this yet, but we are having students hosting all of this. So it's student to student. And I think that's going to be so much better for you to really listen and understand kind of the questions that they're looking and wanting to know the answers to. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our student host if they could introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Grace McCormick. I am a second-year student here at IVCC, and I'm majoring in community and organizational leadership.
Hi, I'm Emmy Bottom. I'm a first-year student here at IVCC, and I plan on going into graphic design.
Hi, I'm a second-year student at IVCC. My name is Naomi Ochuba, and I plan on studying broadcast and digital journalism. Okay, right now, if I could just have our panelists introduce themselves, short, sweet, tell us your name, if you're a student currently or an alumni, and why you chose IVCC.
All right. Hi there. My name is Reed Thomason. I'm a current student at IVCC, and I'm a film and television major. Why IVCC? IVCC allows me to get my general education credits out of the way at an affordable cost, a very convenient location, and then I can specifically focus in on my major once I go to a four-year institution for my remaining 2 years of college.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Ranieri. I'm part of the alumni group here tonight. I actually graduated in 2016 from IVCC, and then I transferred to Loyola University. I chose Ivy because it was an affordable way to start my higher education. I also didn't know what I wanted to study at the time, and my interest at Ivy helped me become an accounting major.
Hey there, my name's Eric. I graduated from the Renewable Wind Energy Program at IV in 2013. I chose IVCC because it was close to home, it was affordable, and they had a number of interesting programs to choose from.
Hi, I'm Jenna Grabowski. I'm a first year at IVCC, and I'm majoring in biology to go into research. I chose IVCC because it's close to home, and I knew I could adjust to college workload and life while remaining in a familiar place.
Hi, my name is Arinze Ochuba. I'm a first year in medical school. I graduated from IVCC in 2017. I chose IVCC because being new to the community then, I really wanted to make a connection. And I also wanted to get a foundation in my education.
Hi, I'm Crystal Crady. I am an alumni as well. I graduated IVCC in 2016. Basically, I have two roles here at the college. I am the Student Services Administrative Assistant, and I'm also the Transition and Completion Specialist that helps adult students throughout their journey here and removing obstacles along the way. The reason I came to IVCC was because it was affordable, it was close to home, And I was juggling many other responsibilities as a mother, just trying to juggle family life and also go to school. So that is my story.
Hi, I'm Hope Bielman. I'm a first-year student at IVCC and I'm majoring in journalism. And I chose IVCC because it's so close to home and it allows me to have a flexible schedule.
Hello, I'm Parker Swiskowski. I'm a first year as well. My major can be nursing. The reason I chose IVCC is because I know IVCC has a great nursing program and that's going to pave the way toward my nursing career.
Teresa, we can't hear you. Got to unmute.
How's that? Better? Hi, I'm Teresa Mullen. I am an alumni of IVCC. I started my career here in production welding and received my associate's certificate and several certificates in the welding field. I am a AWS, which is an American Welding Society, CWI, Certified Welding Inspector. I work here in the welding department, and I chose IVCC because we put 2 of our 3 children through IVCC and found that it was affordable. It worked with all of our family farm operations and welding and everything that we were doing. And, you know, life happens. So I started a little later than most people, but I achieved my goals thanks to IVCC.
Well, that was awesome. And it's so nice to meet such our wonderful panelists. And so my first question, besides maybe unless any of our listeners have any general questions to start out with, would be specifically for Caitlin and Crystal. How has IVCC best prepared you to transfer to a 4-year university?
Yeah, so one thing Ivy really helped me with is helped me add things to my resume, especially after high school. I was able to add other leadership opportunities and also academic stuff to it. This included activities on campus, awards I earned while at Ivy, and also leadership positions in all the organizations I participated in on campus. Through this, I was able to transfer to Loyola seamlessly and also earn many scholarships and grants to make it more affordable. Also, the activities that I participated in, they really helped me feel more confident in holding leadership roles, and that helped me as I transferred. But now that's also really helped me in my career become more of a leader within my team, but also my company.
As an adult student, I initially did not think I could pursue a 4-year degree. I was thinking that I wanted to do something on campus, and I planned initially to do an associate's in applied science and just get out into the workforce. However, shortly after starting taking classes, I realized my passion for higher education and learning, and I changed my mind to a transfer degree. IVCC gave me the tools like knowing where resources are located here, which helped me when I transferred to ISU, because like I said, I really wanted that campus experience. IVCC also gave me the grit and determination to be successful once I did transfer.
That was really good, you guys. I can totally relate to you how great of experience there is at IB. But to build on that, can we ask Ari and Teresa, if you could redo over your IB experience, what would you do differently?
Well, for me, I would try to learn more about the career that I was planning on being interested in. I think there was so much resources out there that I could have started getting into and getting plugged into if I realized what. Well, it's hard to know what you really want to do initially, but it's also good to just have interests and then try to explore those interests.
Well, for myself, I think I would have started sooner. But, you know, life happens, as I said before, and I wouldn't have hesitated to be in school at the same time as my college age students.
Thank you for that. Now we're actually going to backtrack and go back to Ari, adding on Eric. Fun fact, if you haven't noticed by now, Ari is my brother, but he's not home right now. We miss you. So can you two tell me, how did you decide on what field of study to go into? Because I know I currently still am pitter-pattering with what I want to go into. So can you go over that? Can you reflect on that?
Well, it was really helpful discussing with mentors and talking to professors. It's a very difficult thing to single out, and hearing the advice of professors like my chemistry professor, then Dr. Joel and Dr. Young, was very helpful and insightful.
Yeah, and for me, I knew whatever I was going to do, I wanted to get out in the workforce pretty quickly. So I was immediately geared toward the trade programs at IVCC. And after looking into the classes that I'd be taking and doing a lot of online research into the careers themselves, I decided that the WIN program was the best fit for me.
That was awesome. It's really nice to hear about the different careers that IVCC offers. Jenna, I noticed in your bio that it said that as well as being a first-year student, you also have dual credit. Why was it that you wanted to begin your college courses so early?
So basically, I decided I wanted to do dual credit and start my college courses earlier because I realized it would allow me to get like a year ahead. So I was able to complete actually a year of courses at my high school. So I only have to be at Ivy for 1 year. So it's actually really helpful for like careers, if you're going to anything medical or things that require a larger amount of schooling. The dual credit really offers you an opportunity to get ahead of that so you could start, your work a little bit earlier. And I just also really like dual credit because it gives you exposure during high school to the college work. So it's really easy to transition to IB once you've taken those courses.
Thank you, Jenna. That's really inspiring for you to take so many classes while you're still in high school to transition so well to IB. So next, Caitlin and Eric, could we ask you, what was your favorite course that you took here at IVCC?
Yeah, I really like this question. And when I first read it, my first thought was to go towards a business course since that's what I majored in. But actually another course that really stood out to me when I was at IB, I took geology. And it really surprises me that I even picked that because I'm terrible at science. It was never anything I was interested in. But when I was enrolled in that class, I developed such a great group of friends that we were able to work together. We would meet up to do the labs, and that just made it so much more enjoyable. Another thing that I really enjoyed was I was part of the honors program, and I loved all the classes I took throughout my 2 years at Ivy. Throughout the honors program, you get to explore different courses, some courses that you might not originally take because they're not in your career path. So that was really enjoyable for me.
My favorite program turned out to be PLCs, which stands for Programmable Logic Controllers, which is something I certainly didn't know anything about, but use every day. I found it really interesting to learn how the things around you work and what makes them function. It's really neat learning all those things from an expert and someone who's found success in their own life using the knowledge that they're giving you.
Thank you very much for that. Now I want to ask Jenna, you mentioned how you took so many dual credit courses in high school that it allowed you to be
So with my dual credit courses, my high school courses, and my actual college courses that I'm in now, the main difference really I see is just being more involved. With the college courses, I actually, go to labs and I go to now, and I am interacting with the professors. So it's a little bit more involved in that way. Other than that, it's slightly just a bit more work because, it's an actual college course now, so you do get a little bit more. But I would say there weren't really any substantial differences between the two. It was the same teaching kind of strategies, and you're learning the same kind of level of work. So they were actually pretty similar. And especially with like my calculus course, I took a calculus course in high school, and then I came to IB for calculus 2. And so it was actually a really easy transition between the two. So I didn't find anything really different or substantial that I recognized. It was pretty similar.
Jenna, that's definitely impressive. And it's nice to know that coming to IVCC isn't all that scary. While IVCC and high school might not have been so different, in-person learning and remote learning definitely are. So Parker and Hope, this is your first year at IVCC. How challenging was it to adjust to remote learning?
In my experience of adjusting online with remote learning, I know Blackboard is definitely a new networking that we use compared to like at LP, to where everything would be like on Google Classroom. It's all there in front of you. But with Blackboard, once you figure it out and start clicking through it and playing around with it for a little bit, it gets really simple. And I know the teachers as well have been doing their best to tell us what to do, where to go. So yeah, once you figure out everything online, it's pretty simple in some aspects and it's pretty challenging in some other aspects, but I definitely think that online has made the best of both worlds.
So I ended high school with remote learning, so I feel like it wasn't as big of an adjustment for me. And I think that having the orientation at the beginning of the year for Blackboard was really helpful. Like Parker said, it helps you like work around it. But yeah, I didn't find it to be too challenging just because I was already used to it in a way.
Yeah, I had the same experience as you guys from having the first year remote learning. But next, I'd like to ask Hope and Jenna, how have you adjusted to college life? It's hard making friends, but how did you do for your first year?
So I feel that I've adjusted pretty well. I'm grateful and lucky to have been a part of the Hype Crew, which is our little social media team here. And I've got to meet some more people and learn more about them, as well as faculty and staff. And I've also got to learn more about my peers through group projects and my journalism courses. Like I know me and Naomi, we worked on stuff together. So I got to learn a lot about other people, which was really great.
Yeah, and also for me, I've also adjusted pretty well to the college, especially with my dual credits. Of course, that definitely assisted me. But overall, it hasn't been too difficult for me. And sadly now, because of COVID, obviously, I haven't been able to go to any in-classes. So the only time I really see my peers is through sometimes Zoom and mostly through my labs. So that's really where I've made the most connections is through our labs. We work together and we figure the labs out and, do all the math and all that. So that's mainly where I've interacted with most of my peers.
I'm glad to hear you're adjusting well. And I'm sure that as well as being in person, not being in person is difficult. It's also really difficult, I think, to know where to start when you're all online. So Reed and Hope, how did you know what classes you needed to register for? And how did you even know what would fit with your major?
Well, it depends on what you're looking at in the long run. If you are just deciding, I'm going to go to IVCC and then I don't know what I'm going to major in, I don't know where I'm going to go after, then I would definitely speak with a counselor, try to get very generic general educations out of the way. But if you know where you want to go afterwards, it's almost like when you're signing up for your AP testing. You can see what colleges accept what credits. The counselors are very equipped to tell you that this school will take this credit, this school will not take this credit. And I know that coming in and especially being online, it's a little threatening to go out there and say, hey, I need help when you're not even at the school. But the counselors definitely know what they're talking about and they know how to help you and how to get you on the right track.
So I was kind of late coming to IVCC. I was like really quick. It was, I think in July, like I decided I was coming. So I used a lot of like the transfer guide sheets on the website, and that was really helpful in determining like what I needed to take and what classes were best for me. And I talked to counselors too. I talked to Wendy a bunch. She's a great counselor, and she kind of told me what classes would be best according to my major, which was really helpful. It was a lot of like heavy writing classes.
All right, let's take a quick shift from school and all that and writing and assignments. Take a quick shift from that. And let's talk about your extracurriculars. What were you involved in or are still currently involved in at IVCC and where you are at now? What are some of the things that you do in some organizations that you're a part of?
So my first year, when we were actually still in person, I was involved with River Currents, which is a literary magazine, and I was the editor-in-chief. But then sadly, we were not able to publish that year because of the pandemic and not being able to meet in person. Currently, I am still involved in student government. I'm part of the hype crew that Hope was alluding to with the social media team. And then I'm also the president of SPAMO, which is the Students of Performing Arts and Music organization. We work on the musical theater productions, improv, and such. And I've been working heavily in the theater department, and we've been transferring over to filmed productions, which comes in handy when you're a film major, to be able to still produce content that everyone can see. I was lucky that my first year going in, my father is the athletic director and the activities coordinator. So he was able to tell me, hey, you should do this, you should do this. But the big spirit day that they have at the beginning of the year that sadly the first year students coming in this year did not get to participate in or even really know about is a great way to have the students be engaged and to learn about clubs that and organizations that you're potentially going to be involved in.
Yeah. I also participated in a lot of organizations when I was at IV. These included the Red Cross Club, Phi Theta Kappa, which is an honors society for community college students. I was also involved in the honors program, student government, and was a student ambassador to help give tours to students who wanted to come to IV or others that were visiting our college. I do think it's really important that you join these. You may consider IV like almost as a second high school since you're going with a lot of your classmates from high school, but it really isn't. You're going to meet so many new students as well as instructors and other staff in the building by joining these activities. And they will help you as you transfer to other universities after IV. So I highly encourage you joining as many organizations as you can.
You guys are super involved. That's awesome. And speaking of film productions through the IVCC Fine Arts page, Hooray for Hollywood is being broadcast on April 11th. So make sure you check out their Facebook page for more info. Reed had a large hand in that. He does an awesome job. And now I'm going to add Ari on to this next question along with Caitlin and Reed. You've all held various leadership positions during your time at IVCC. Can you share how that's helped you develop as a student and with eligibility for scholarships?
I can go first. So I had worked on this major project. For me, it was a major thing. It's called SciFest. It was really funny. Dr. Joel, the chemistry professor, came out to me and said, Ari, I'm going to make you do this. I'm like, what? But then I realized this was an opportunity. It was a great chance for me to show that I could do something on a magnitude of that scale. In the end, we were able to invite about 400 of the public, 400 people. That was a major thing to me. I haven't done that before. It was holding responsibility for a huge amount of people, connecting with different parts of the community, something I was really looking forward to. And also trying to intertwine scientific foundations, but with also public outreach. It was really glorious for me when I saw kids like coming into the gymnasium on that night and they're just super excited. You can literally see it on their eyes. They're like, oh no, wow, he's gonna lie down on the bed of nails. It was crazy like that. But in the end, this was very, very instrumental in me applying for scholarships. things, I know that when I transferred, it was super expensive and it was hard to manage that and also navigate the financial hurdles. But I remember every time I would rely on that experience I had with Dr. Joel and with the rest of the SciFest organization. And I got courage from that. It was really inspirational for me, and I still hold that dear to me till now. And I will probably ever for my life. It was a fun experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that sci-fi, the Science Fest, and it was a great experience, Ari. I definitely went to it. Also, through my organizations I participated in, I was also able to get quite a few scholarships, which I was really fortunate for because it made my transition to Loyola a lot easier, especially financially. If you have the opportunity to apply for Phi Theta Kappa, which I mentioned earlier, I highly recommend. They have a lot of scholarships, and what's unique about it is their scholarships only available to community college students. So that's really awesome. As you're transferring, you're not fighting with all the other students coming in fresh from high school or maybe another four-year university. It's only community college students that you're competing with for these scholarships, and you're all kind of in the same boat talking about your community college experiences. In addition, through my leadership roles, I was able to participate in some really unique opportunities. I was able to lobby in Springfield on behalf of community colleges and IVCC. I was a speaker at an event in Springfield talking to all the presidents of the community colleges in Illinois, as well as some students. And I was even able to go to Washington, D.C. and accept an award on behalf of IVCC. So that was really unique to my experience at IV, and it's something I will never forget.
I was involved with the scholarship writing panel that we did a few months back as well. And my main piece of advice was being able to put yourself out there, even though it might be awkward at first, even though it might be uncomfortable, but the ability to put yourself out there. And I think that being in a leadership position is probably one of the best ways to put yourself out there. And once you do that, it's definitely going to be recognized as far as scholarships go. I'm the president of SPAMO, and like I said, editor-in-chief for River Currents. I was the first year, and that definitely helps with your ability to feel comfortable with reaching out, writing different scholarships in the school when you're actually applying at IVCC. But when you go to apply to a 4-year, they're going to notice that right away. They're going to say, okay, this person isn't afraid to go out, work in this club or organization, especially if it relates to the major that you're going to be going into or in some way relates to it. It's very impressive and it's very helpful when you are trying to get into a college or trying to get a scholarship from a college.
Thank you so much. You guys are really making me feel so inspired, being so involved. Next, I'd like to ask Parker and Jenna, describe what's classes like and how did you know if they were transferable?
So classes online, for me at least, they've been normally like they would be in person, having our teacher having announcements and go through lecture as normal. And if students have any questions, they can always type in the chat box. And I know something different that is new with online is with Zoom, the breakout rooms. That's really helpful just to have like little breakout rooms, which are just 4 to 5 different students talking about the topic. When the teacher says, hey, answer this question with your group. It's been fine with how classes are set up. I think that the best thing with online, with Zoom, is that a lot of kids can also get together on Zoom as well and talk about different concepts during class. And then I know as well with classes being transferable, I always go to the counselors. Counselors are always great at IVCC to know if your classes count toward your end goal of being at a different university.
Yeah, so like Parker said, the communication with like teachers through these online courses is pretty much the same as being in person. It's actually really nice because it's really easy to reach out to them and they reach out to you a ton as well. It's also one of my favorite things probably about with online courses, how they're going right now, is that you're given the information you know what you need to do for each week, and you're kind of able with some of my classes, I'm able to work in my own pace. So I'm able to kind of do things throughout the week as needed so that I don't feel rushed or I don't feel like I have a bunch of deadlines building up. So that's a really nice feature about it. Through the classes, it's a bit more, it's kind of independent in that aspect of you kind of get to plan when you are gonna work on your homework or when you're gonna watch the videos they assign and things like that. So you really are in charge of that yourself, but it's really nice because the professors don't leave you alone. You're really able to get help when needed, and they're always offering to help you or to catch you up or anything like that. For the transferable courses, like Parker said, the counselors are really knowledgeable in that. They usually kind of direct me where to go for that. And also you really just have to check with whatever four-year university you're planning to go to, because they usually have what they will and won't accept. And you're also able to kind of argue for yourself if you think courses should. So it's really just something you have to work out with specific universities.
Thank you very much, Parker and Jenna. Now, Ari, Crystal, and Teresa, how, I know that since being a second-year student, I am familiar with some of the things at IVCC, but Crystal and Teresa, you two are very knowledgeable because you work at the college, and so you know about most of the resources that most students might not even know about. What student services do you recommend that students check out?
Well, peer tutoring is an invaluable resource, whether it's in the area of math, chemistry, which I did not take while I was here, but I know Ari did a lot of stuff with that field. I would have definitely needed peer tutoring for that. Additionally, I had started producing podcasts back in 2019, and there's short podcasts that give a lot of great information. For adult students, and even for new incoming freshmen, there are a lot of really good resources on the adult student page, which is just ivcc.edu/adult. There's helpful videos, guidance. There's information about skills match, which is basically like looking at your employment history, your education, and like extracting skills that you have or skills that you want to have, and showing you the courses and programs that we have here that you can have, or that you could get in order to hone those skills. And there's resources being added all the time.
I would have to agree with Crystal. My number one choice is the Learning Commons, which is where the peer tutoring all takes place. And they have English as well as the math and sciences. And even for our welding students, there's all kinds of help over there if they're struggling. But also, don't ever forget your instructors. Your instrucors want to see you succeed. They are invaluable to help point you, if you can't find it on your own on the interweb for IVCC, where to go to find the help that you're seeking. Also the foundation offices. They were quite instrumental in my children transferring to the different colleges, and providing the types of scholarships that they each need. So make sure that you're looking into some of those things if you need financial help. And then also LinkedIn. It's a great tool that you can sign up through several different classes here at IVCC to help explore what's available in our area and outside of our area for jobs.
I could follow in suit with that. I worked at the Students Help Center. I was a tutor for chemistry, math, and some other stuff. It was fun. It's a good way to keep everything you learn in check and also to give back. It was a great time. Plus, you get paid too. You know, of course, it's work, but it's yeah. But there are other things too. Let's think about this in a different way. So your plan is to apply for stuff, you know, apply to the next step, the next level. So you're going to have a resume, right? If you're going to have a resume, you need to be able to get in tune with some formatting skills and also in the right way to word it and to show that you're like enigmatic and all of that. So there's several resources you can use. I don't remember the exact office, but it's one that specializes in helping students with exactly what I just mentioned now, that I mentioned so dramatically. But there are other things too. you can talk to, if you're trying to organize something, you can talk to the public outreach, I think they're called. But this is I think that's Dr. Brawley, Mr. Brawley. He's also the one who does that. So if you want to organize something, you can reach out to him to help you spread the word. If you want to organize any event or something. And plus, one interesting thing is that the Student Help Center is really like around the hub of the school or something. For me, it was the hub, but there are other professors' offices around there too. And like Teresa mentioned, your professors are also resources. They're really like these books of knowledge and wisdom and advice. Of course, they give you lots of exams and quizzes, and like you're like, he's out to get me, but in a good way. Well, yeah, take advantage of that. Yeah.
Those are definitely some new resources I haven't heard of before, although I will admit I do use tutoring quite often. Now that we have some current IVCC students here, I guess what I really want to know is, where do you think you're going to end up after IVCC? What are your plans?
So right now, my plan is, after graduating this spring, I'm going to be transferring to Columbia College in Chicago, and I'll be spending the next 2 years in Chicago studying filmmaking and television through their extensive coursework there.
So for me, I know I'm obviously going to be transferring to a 4-year. Right now, I'm just not quite sure where, as it's been, it's a hard decision to make. I'm still waiting for some decisions to come back, so it's a little bit for me to figure that out. But I know I'll be transferring to that, and then I'm going to be going on to pursue grad school, and I'm going to be hoping to become a researcher in that field. So.
I actually haven't fully decided yet what I plan to do. I kind of have 2 options. I'd love to transfer to a 4-year university that has a strong focus on journalism, and I would love to go out of state too. And I also would like to take a year off after IVCC once I graduate and travel and kind of document my experience, since my major is journalism and travel is something I'm really interested in. So they kind of go hand in hand.
I can totally relate to you guys being a first-year student, having to decide everything so quickly, but here at IVCC, you can have time to help you decide where you want to go. But next, I'd like to ask Eric, Crystal, and Teresa, what motivated you to come back to school? So what would you give advice for people?
My motivation was pretty simple. I was couple of years out of high school. I was in a dead-end job. I just knew that I wanted more for myself and out of life. I knew I wanted to start a career instead of just my next job, really. And getting educated and going back to school seemed like a great first step toward making that happen. And anyone who's on the fence about going back, I'd say the future is going to happen anyway. And if you can visualize what kind of future you want for yourself, whether it be through a specific career path or just bettering yourself in general, there's an excellent staff at IV that can certainly help you make that a reality.
I wanted this achievement for myself, for increased job mobility, and for my family's financial betterment. It is achievable, and there are so many supports along the way, so use them. Everyone here is so willing to help. Just reach out with questions, or if you have a problem, because that's what we're here for, is to help you get to, the end game, getting your degree. And my piece of advice for anyone that's on the fence is that it's not too late. I mean, you see me and Teresa here on this panel, and I took a year off after high school. I graduated high school in '98, and I didn't come back till 2013. I'm, graduated here in 2016, and now I'm, between ISU and getting my bachelor's there in 2016, and now I'm working on my master's. You can do it. So that's all I have to say.
I would say that my reason for coming back to school too was I love learning. So I want to know more about different things. So when I came back to IVCC, it was because I wanted to know more about welding, the processes that I did not pick up or learn in high school. We only had a select few because that's all that teacher knew. And I was grateful that I was able to do that. So that's the reason I came back. But it also has helped me advance into a career I didn't even know I wanted.
That's awesome. And speaking of your career, Teresa, both you and Parker are either in or entering kind of unconventional, non-traditional fields. What is it like, or can you share your experience about that with us?
Well, I guess I don't feel as though it's non-traditional because, like I said, I took welding in high school and was accepted there. My husband that I dated in high school, he has a family farm, and I've done the welding there. I also weld for the neighbors. So for me, I guess I just don't view it as a sex-specific type of job. I feel that if you can lay down a good weld, nobody knows who you are until you lift your hood.
So being a male in the healthcare and nursing field, it hasn't been too much of a difference. I got my CNA in high school, and now I'm working as a CNA at St. Margaret's, Peru. I work with all females on the midnight shift, so I mean it hasn't been a major difference just because no matter what, male or female, our goal is to make sure the patient is healthy and make sure that we give them quality care. But I mean, there has always been a little bit of backlash, being a guy, usually, or most guys in, my age, they're saying, hey, why don't you go into welding? Why don't you go into a trade compared to just going to medical or healthcare field? And that wasn't for me. So it's not that being a male in healthcare field is non-traditional. It's more of just unusual, I guess, to say the least. But I mean, like I said, people that you work with, they don't ever see it as a non-traditional field. It's like making sure the patient's 100% and that you like the job that you work at.
Thank you guys very much for that. It's kind of refreshing to see people like you two breaking down barriers and like taking on things that are viewed as otherwise unconventional. What is the most surprising thing about going to IVCC? And this is open to all panelists. What is the most surprising thing about going to IVCC?
I think the caring and helpfulness from staff, faculty, and counselors, just how willing everybody from faculty, staff, counselors are to help you with anything that you might encounter along the way.
For me, I think the most surprising thing was just how much I benefited from my experience there and how much I gained. I wasn't expecting that when I first transferred. I just thought of it as a stepping stone that I would not look back on, but it's made such a big impact in my life. And even the relationships that I've kept to this day, I still stay in contact with professors and staff from IV, and they've helped me advance in my career still to this day.
I would say that the connections I've been able to make with faculty and staff have been really helpful, and they've made the transition from high school to college really easy, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, I have to agree with all of those. The thing I found surprising was really how easy it is to get involved. It feels like there's many different ways to get involved and many different people you can go to, and just get involved with the whole college. It's a really nice experience with that.
I mean, I think someone else. Here you can go. Ari, you can go first.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, for me, just the community you can build, really, the relationships you can have. Relationships are very important, and I think I think I've heard similar things from the whole panelists that they formed bonds with the people they've met. This is strong, something you can rely on, resources you can draw on, and take advantage of that in a good way. Really, it's something you can always call, I guess, a kind of family or home. It supports you, builds you, challenges you, makes you a better person. Dig into that. That's all surprising to me.
I will say, like, with being surprising about IVCC is having the ability to create networking because it's so easy among the staff and students. And I know that right now with online, it's a little bit hard to get that networking in. But I know that I think once everyone's back in motion, the fall of this next semester, I think everyone's going to be a lot happier with being able to see everybody again and to be able to really create relationships among the community.
I was not sure how things would go. I know that my children had a great rapport with all the faculty, staff, and counselors when they transitioned from high school into college and life beyond. And like all of the other panelists have said, they formed great bonds with the faculty and found them very supportive. So I wasn't really sure, as old as I was when I came back to school, how that would work out. But I am happy to say that I too, instructors that I am older than, still treated me with respect, just like they treated any other student. So I would say if you're on the fence about coming back as an adult learner, don't be. The faculty, staff, and counselors here are in your boat. They are here for you. They will support you and help you to the best of their ability. And if they don't know, they'll find out a way to help you.
And then I guess I think I'm last then. I think that definitely what was most surprising for me is that there's this weird idea that as you keep going through school from preschool all the way to wherever you end up, high school, college, it's just going to get harder and harder and harder and harder and harder. And quite frankly, I think that IB was, or still is, a lot easier than even high school was. I think that the most surprising thing was that based on how it's scheduled out, the amount of times that you're actually meeting, and then as everyone's kind of noted, the resources that come from the instructors and faculty and staff, it's not something that I struggled with as much as I thought I was going to. It actually felt like smooth sailing just because they were there to help, and they were always able to get me what I needed when I needed it. So.
Well, I want to offer a gigantic thank you to all of our panelists. We very much appreciate you guys logging on and sharing some of your experience with us. I'd also like to thank my co-hosts, Emmy and Naomi. We really appreciate you guys, and it's been so much fun hanging out with you. And I would also like to extend a thank you to our audience. We appreciate you guys coming in. We wouldn't be here if you weren't, but we hope that you learned something today. And if not, if there's something you still have questions on, please feel free to leave a question in the chat box below, and then Mr. Quentin Overrocker will help facilitate discussion. So thank you so much for attending, and thanks again to my panelists and my co-hosts.
So thanks, Grace. We actually have a question that I'm gonna turn to you and Emmy to answer. So Chloe asked, do any of you have any work study experiences working at either the bookstore or the library? If so, what's something I should know to look out for? So I know that Grace and Emmy, neither of you work at the bookstore or the library, but if you could share a little bit about your own work study experience, that'll be helpful.
First, I work up in the counseling center, which is, in my opinion, one of the best places to be, just because I love everybody there so much. They're awesome. They're all very, very good at their jobs. If you have a question, someone there will know the answer. I personally don't work in the bookstore or in the library, but I do visit both quite frequently, either for office trips or just to get a good book. And what I've noticed is that they both seem to be very quiet, quiet places to work. So if you're someone who maybe isn't that into extreme interpersonal communication, that might be a better department for you than, say, maybe like I believe Emmy works in admissions and I work in counseling. So we're both probably answering phones and we're talking to people a large portion of the day. One of the things I like most about my job is that I get to help people. That's kind of a big thing for me. It's what I'm majoring in. But the nice thing is that when people come and they have questions, I know that by the end of the day, they're going to get an answer. And that's really nice. And the hours are nice. The people are great. And you get first pick at classes. So that's pretty cool. There are perks is what I'm saying. And I can't speak for Emmy, but I'm really, really glad that I decided to apply.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the student worker job was like one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because I was just coming right out of high school and I didn't really know anybody. And it was just really nice to be able to connect with staff here at the school and then getting to know other student workers and other jobs. And I think it's really beneficial for each student to just even think about applying, even in the summer, just to get a feel for the school, which is really nice. So I recommend. I work in the admissions office, which I think is really fun because I'm here with Azarette and Quentin, and I'm doing graphics for all the admission things. Like if you saw your postcard, I designed that puppy, so don't throw that away, put it on your fridge. But I think if you're interested in just being connected with people here at the school, I think you should totally be a student worker here at IVCC.
All right, thank you both. So please put in some more questions for the panelists if you have them. I'm going to let, while you type all your questions in, I'm going to let Azarette talk a little bit about what the breakout sessions are going to be as soon as we get done with this particular part of the Zoom.
Yeah, thank you. So continue if you have any questions. If not, we did ask a lot of questions, more so the students did. And so we hope that that gave you a better idea. At this point, you have options to learn a little bit more about whether it's, I don't even know where to start with transferring and I just need to get a better idea, or perhaps you are in high school and you're thinking, what's dual credit? What are my options? You can check out that, and we included all the links in the chat box as well. And then career technical education. You heard a couple of our panelists speak on behalf of those programs, and perhaps that sparks some more questions. So check that out, and we'll see if there's any other questions, and I'll leave this up.
So Chloe said she's going to talk more about her plans with the counselor. And Renee, I know that you are on, and I was just hoping you could talk just for a brief moment about what it is that our counselors do and why it's so important for students to come see you. And I thought you were on, but now I'm not seeing it. And so I hope I'm not talking into the void. This is awkward. Yeah, I don't see Renee, but Chloe, what you already know, because I know we spoke at our last virtual session, our counselors will sit down with you and talk to you about what your academic plans are. So as Azarette just mentioned, we're going to have the transfer information session. So if you think your end goal is going to be a 4-year degree, so, you know, like Ari, you want to study something in the medical field and you're going to transfer on to Johns Hopkins University, or maybe ISU for education, that's where you'll attend that transfer information breakout session where they'll be able to answer your questions. If, like Eric mentioned, you like working with your hands, you want to get in, you want to get the education you need, you want to get out and get a good paying job, that's going to be the more career and technical education focus where Teresa works. So there's welding, there's auto, there's you know, CNA, there's HVAC, there's all kinds of different options there. Gracelyn and myself will be talking about what options you have in the career and technical education. And then Sue Monroe is going to do the high school dual credit. So if you're a student still in high school or you're the parent of a student still in high school, Sue will be able to walk you through how do you take classes here at IVCC while you're in high school. So Hannah Larson has asked, when should incoming students start to apply? Nobody needs to listen to me talk anymore. So Emmy, I'm going to turn it over to you since you do work in the admissions office. What would you tell Hannah? When should a student start to apply?
I think an incoming student should apply as soon as you can, because by applying early, you can get all the information you need before fall or even summer. So I think applying as soon as you can and getting all your information in there, all your interests, talking to a counselor, setting up your appointment. I think as soon as you can, even if you're thinking about it, I think you should apply right after this Zoom. You should go online and apply so you can get all your information you need. You can relax. You don't have to stress about it. So I think as soon as you can, you should apply.
That is a perfect answer, Emmy. Thank you for doing that. And like she said, as soon as you're in your senior year, definitely apply to IVCC. And the beauty of that is exactly what Emmy said. We don't expect you to know every step you need to take. Once you apply, we're going to tell you what you need to do. We're going to send you texts. We're going to send you emails letting you know of upcoming deadlines, opportunities for virtual visits or in-person visits for that matter. So that's why you should apply. Emilio asks, where can we get information for applying to work studies like the one mentioned earlier? Crystal Crady thankfully put that in the chat. So you actually will consult with the financial aid office, which is here on the main campus, CTC 101. Hope, one of our student panelists, works in the financial aid office now. So you'll see a friendly face at the front. But basically just walk into the financial aid office and say, hey, I'd like to learn more about work study. They'll give you an application. And then the way from our perspective, myself and Azarette and Graceland, what we do is when we have student workers who are leaving to transfer on or go to work or whatever, we walk over to the financial aid office and we'll start looking through the financial aid work study applications. And that's how we found Emmy, and we're super happy to have her. And I know that's how everybody else here who does work study got jobs. Azarette did just mention, don't forget to complete the sign-in form to get those sweet sunglasses that thanks to Emmy, she's going to model those right now. I like that. And she actually helped pick those out. So please fill out that sign-in form. Chloe, you are killing it as usual. I really feel like I should be paying you to ask these wonderful questions. Chloe said, I'm also thinking about taking summer classes to get ahead. So who do I talk to? So you would want to talk to the counseling center. They are 815-224-0360. Azarette, if you don't mind putting that number in the chat, or somebody else, 815-224-0360. Give them a call. They'll be able to talk to you about what your plans are, because we want you to sign up for a summer class, but we also want to make sure that it's going to count for your educational plan. And that's what's so great about our IVCC counselors. They're not just going to recommend, yeah, what the heck, take 18 hours of this just because we want you to be enrolled here. They're going to work with you. And so there's like a psychology class, not like a psychology class. You can tell I didn't major in public speaking. Let's say we have a psychology class this summer. That will likely count for your degree if you're thinking about a 4-year program. But let's say you're thinking about welding. You may not need that psychology class. So that's why it's so important to call the counseling center, talk with a counselor, and they can walk you through what's going to be best for you, whether it's going to be a 3-week summer course, you get in, get out, whether it's going to be an 8-week summer course. There's a ton of options, and we want to make sure that you make the right choice. So yes, that's a great question. Thank you for that. And we are running overtime. Thanks to everybody on this. Thanks to all our panelists. Thanks to everybody who participated and viewed that. It was such a wonderful event. We're going to